Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to News and Views on Salam Media for our final segment of the day. And the things just a little bit. So yeah, so it seems we've lost him for just a little bit, but when we are able to connect with him, then we will take you live to the Results Operating Center. I think we have him at the moment. Hi, Selaelo.
Assalamu alaikum, Fazlin, to you and all our listeners. Connection giving us a bit of a problem, but I can see you now. I can hear you. All seems to be okay.
All good. So obviously you are at the results center. Results are trickling in as VDs are busy, submitting their results. What is the atmosphere there like at the moment?
Well, for a lot of South Africans, the elections, started and ended on Wednesday. But for the political parties that are contesting this year's elections, they are only starting now because only now, do they get to see their campaign strategies if they worked. Them crisscrossing South Africa and having these big rallies and all these manifesto launches all across the country has yielded any kind of results. So I can tell you for sure they are here. All political party representatives are here representing all the political parties that are on the ballot. And the mood, as you can imagine, is very edgy, it's very nervous, but definitely electrifying, for us who are in the media space, who can report to you in real time, what's currently happening at the National Results Operations Center here in Gallagher Estate in Midrand.
Mm-hmm. You raise such a valid point in terms of the fact that political parties have been crisscrossing the country, trying to convince people to vote for them on the one side. And we obviously, if we just look at, the declaration of the funding that political parties have received, we know it's into the hundreds of millions that have been spent on this election. And it's going to be very interesting to see whether that converts from the different political parties into actual votes. So, Selaelo, in terms of where we're standing at the moment with results that have come in, what is the percentage of results that have come in thus far? And, what are the early projections looking like?
So the early projections are very, very interesting. It's about 13% of the votes have been counted. That accounts to almost a million nationally. But there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of districts that have not completed because of what happened yesterday. With some of the voting stations closing really, really late because of some delays. From the IEC's part, and also because of the overwhelming numbers of South Africans that came out to vote in this year's elections. I think this year's number is definitely bigger than the previous elections that we've had since 1995. So since 1994. So I think it was a bit overwhelming for the IEC. They were not expecting such a big turnout. That's why there's kind of a delay in just how quickly we're getting those numbers. But they are coming in, not as quickly as we'd want them to, but in some provinces already, I think, you can see some indications of, how political parties are doing. And I think what really stands out for me is what's currently happening in the KZN right now. I think this is one of the most unexpected results that we are witnessing. We have the MK party, relatively new, first-time entrants, less than 6 months old, in the South African political landscape. And they're giving ANC a run of their money. Almost more than 40% of the votes counted right now in the KZN in the various districts belong to Umkhonto Wesizwe, and the ANC trailing at second with 20% plus, and the IFP coming in third there with about 16.17 plus. So yeah, there's from the last update that we've had coming out of the KZN is there's about 287 of the districts that were completed their voting. That's 287 out of 4,974. So there's still a very, very long way to go. But I think so far there are indications. You can tell, but you never know. You never know. They can swing at any direction, but the early indications, especially in the KZN region, are very, very interesting to look at.
I think obviously MK is the big, perhaps not surprise, but I think surprise in the sense of just how high they're ranking at the moment in terms of votes that are coming in. I think there was a big anticipation that the fact that former President Jacob
Just losing you for a moment, Fazlin.
Wouldn't be able to go to Parliament. There was an anticipation that that would have an effect. Where they were in 2019, where they contested and didn't get any seats nationally. And now it looks like, just with results in, that they already possibly have one seat in the bag.
No, I think that's a really interesting progression. I think this all boils down to the South African voter, and just how our democracy has evolved, and our people have learned, what political parties literally mean to them nationally, and the interest that they have on a personal level. I think this is a perfect indication of that, and it's just about sitting and watching stunning cake, to put it in those terms, about how it's going to look like when it's all said and done, and those overall results are being released.
So just to reference perhaps some of the sentiments from yesterday, I know Salam Media, we were on the ground in different areas. There were obviously some challenges. I mean, I can cite my own hours, just more or less. And when I left 15 in the evening, the queue was still going around the block in my particular area. And I know that that is very similar in many other areas. But in terms of some of the people that were spoken to yesterday, what were some of the challenges that were posed specifically with regards to these long lines?
I think it's basically mostly about the lines, and also the devices that the IEC use, the DBS devices that they use, having technical glitches, network issues, and interruptions. In some areas there were also issues of lights, and I think this is one of the most well documented cases was of course what happened in Thokoza yesterday, at a fire station. This was in Ward 52 in Thokoza, in Ekurhuleni in the East Rand, where by around 9 p.m. When the IEC was announcing a cut-off time, there were still scores of people outside, and it started to get physical, because people were essentially fighting for their right to vote. Some of them even citing sabotage, coming from the IEC, because they think, quote unquote, elections might not swing the ANC's way, and the IEC is doing all that it can to stop them from voting. And it was scenes that were very, very disturbing to watch. But then what fighting for their right to vote, fighting to be part of this democratic process. So it was basically issues around that, and I think with me, from what I've observed going into the different areas, I don't feel like the IEC was prepared for such an overwhelming turnout. I think it took them by surprise. That's why we saw those long lines. They were not necessarily, out of the staff at the IEC not doing their job, or the inadequacies in the system, but there were just a lot of people, and you can only feel for the IEC, wardens and all of the people that were assisting with people to cast their ballots. Some of them being at the voting stations from 5 a.m. and finishing off at 1 a.m. the next day in the morning. So it was really, really mind-boggling, for the IEC to try and contain that number. So yeah, it was really, really crazy scenes that we saw out there. But what was encouraging is South Africans went out to vote. South Africans came out in their numbers, particularly young people. A lot of them that we spoke to, first-time voters, saying they want to make a difference. They want their voice to be heard, and they want to be part of a democratic process that a lot of our forebearers died for and sacrificed their lives for a very long time. So it was very encouraging to see young people coming out in their scores, but not only coming out, but also understanding the importance of being part of such an important democratic process such as voting. Fazlin, still there? All right, we seem to have lost Fazlin a bit there, but maybe if we can just go through some of the latest figures coming out of the IEC. We've been here for the past 2 days, trying to give you all the latest numbers, all the latest projections from the IEC. There's about more than 1 million votes that have been counted thus far, and this accounts to about 13% of the overall votes that were cast by South Africans. And again, the most interesting stat or figure that's coming out is obviously out of the KZN province, where the MK, from the last update that we received, are leading by about 42.31%, and the ANC coming second with 20.12%, and the IFP coming in third at 16.17%. Another update that we had for you was coming out of the Free State, where there's about 316 of the 1,586 voting districts completed in the Free State province. The ANC currently leads by our last projections. It was about 52.83% in the Free State. The DA coming in second with 22.07%, and the EFF third with 10.96. But these are only a preliminary stage of the results that are coming in. There's still a very, very long way to go. There's still a lot of districts that have not yet finished counting, and have not reported their numbers just yet. So we'll be here at the Gallagher Convention Center in Midrand, trying to give you all the latest that's coming out as the day progresses. All of the political parties, representatives, even leaders are going to be making their way here. We'll be speaking to all of them, if possible, to try to get their reactions from how their political parties are currently doing, and also the issue of coalitions starting to creep in. A lot of parties looking at their numbers, looking at the leaderboard that you're seeing right now, and trying to decide, okay, what can we give away to get something in a municipality or province that might be of interest to them. So it's going to be a very, very interesting couple of weeks, and we hope you'll be connected to Salam Media for the duration of the counting of your votes here at the Results Operations Center. I've lost Fazlin, but I think we're going to leave it here for now until we meet again.